Most people say, if I had more money, I'd be happier. But happiness is something you have to work on besides money, because the money won't make you happy. Goals, a plan for goals, a clear picture of how to use your resources, a plan for your work time, a plan for gathering knowledge, association with the right people, a plan for developing your skills, and lifestyle. If you'll follow those 7 fundamentals, I can promise you, life will work well for you. Setting goals is a very important part of our life's process. It's a basic fundamental. In fact, if you will work hard on setting goals, put together a plan for setting goals, reevaluate them, rearrange them, constantly talk about them, go over them again and again, I tell you what this process will do, in my personal opinion. It'll put you in what's known as the top 5%. And if you want to be successful, if you want your life to really change in major ways, this is one of the fundamentals. Guess how many people have a constant plan for setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of their goals? The answer is very few. In fact, if you will do this, you will become among the few who do, that become the envy of all who watch. Get together with your family, your wife, your husband, your children, your business colleagues, and make it one of the major fundamentals in your life, constantly setting, rearranging, evaluating, and strengthening the purpose of your goals. That's number 1, fundamental for success. Here's number 2. The second fundamental is a clear picture of what you intend to do with your present resources. That's a fundamental. Figuring out a plan of what to do and how to manage your present resources. Most everyone I talk to has already got something. The big question is, what are you doing with it? Most everyone has some time, they have some resources, they have some money, or they have a paycheck, or they have some kind of resources, they have some kind of net worth. The big question is, what are you doing with it? Where are you investing it? Where are you putting it? There's a little simple talk I'm giving now, and it's especially designed for the kids, called The Care and Feeding of the Goose That Lays the Golden Egg. First of all, you've got to understand about society and about money. You've got to understand how to earn it, where to get it, where it comes from, and the importance of managing it. If a child has $1 and goes and spends it, right away they've developed the wrong habits. And sure enough, if they continue those poor management habits over the first $1, you can imagine they're probably going to do the same poor things with those same dollars when they get older. The plans we learn when we're small, sure enough, are most often the plans we follow the rest of our lives. What to do with your money and where to put it. You've got to make sure some of your money goes into financial institutions so that successful people can borrow it and start other businesses that employ more people. You've got to make sure that you give some of your money for charity. So for charity and for taxes and for savings and for the accumulation of capital, it's very important to have a management plan for your present resources so that at age 65 you don't wind up like most people do, broke. You wind up with substance, you wind up with plenty to share, you wind up with plenty to enjoy. So that's the second fundamental for success. A plan for using all of your present resources wisely. Now here's the third fundamental for success. A detailed plan for the use of your work time. We call it a game plan. Most people try to design tomorrow and next week and next month in their head. They try to just decide what they're going to do. And most people don't even think that far ahead. They think, I have to get up in the morning and go to work, and that's about the extent of it. But a game plan for financial independence, a game plan for your work time, a game plan for your personal time. The family needs a game plan so that you won't miss some of the important things that are helpful to your life and to your success. You need a game plan for your office. If you're in business, a game plan for your business. A detailed plan for the use of your work time. So that's the third fundamental for success. And I can promise you that a detailed plan for the use of your work time will put you in the top 5%, because most people don't have one. Now here's the fourth fundamental for success. Number 4 is a consistent plan for the gathering of knowledge. Most people get ideas just spasmodically, or when someone happens to come by, or they just happen to hear someone, or they happen to read a book that might have some ideas that could help to benefit their life. What I'm saying is we all need a consistent plan for the gathering of knowledge, a consistent plan for going to the library, a consistent plan for attending the lectures, attending the seminars. When you listen to a sermon, make sure you've got your journal to take notes. Wherever you go, gather knowledge, but gather it on purpose. Do it constantly, do it daily, and do it consistently. We need a consistent plan for reading books. Most people just read books haphazardly, spasmodically, or most people just don't read at all. Or they don't have a good plan for reading the right book. Sure enough, the man reads the comics instead of the classics. And he misses all the things that could really benefit his life because he doesn't have a plan. Here's a good thought to consider. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you. Good ideas must be pursued. You must go where they are. You must seek them out. And there's an important Bible phrase that says, if you seek, if you search, you will find. Sure enough, a consistent plan for gathering knowledge, reading the books, attending the lectures, putting together ideas and having a place to capture them like a journal where you can repeat them and go over them. That's a fundamental that if you'll follow it, will put you in the top 5%. Guess how many people have a consistent plan for the gathering of knowledge? Answer, very few. And what you want to be is one of the very few. Now here's the 5th fundamental for being successful. It is an association of people of common interest in progress, success, ideas, and philosophy. If you have a constant association of people who can better your life and better your lifestyle, you can't believe the progress that you can make. Mr. Shoaff shared with me when I first met him when I was 25 years old. He said, Jim, to do better, you've got to get around the right people. I have a good phrase for you. Never mistake the power of influence. The man says, well, I live here, but it doesn't really bother me. See, that's not true. He says, I'm around these people, but they really don't bother me. See, that's not true. Whoever you're around, whoever you're with, is exerting some kind of influence on your life. And what you must do is make plans to get around the right people. People who talk positive ideas. People who talk philosophy, the refinement of philosophy. See, just the latest joke won't help. You've got to get around people who read, people who are successful, and people who are growing and changing. Otherwise, your influence is going to be in the opposite direction. And I know most of us, wherever you work, you have to be around some negative influences. But what you must do is counterbalance that by an association of the right people, getting around the right people who can help to change your life for the better. So that's one of the 7 fundamentals, associating with the right people on a constant, consistent basis. So work on that one. And it's one of the 7 fundamentals. If you will work on an association of the right people who can help you to grow financially, personally, spiritually, socially, sure enough, it'll put you in the top 5%. Guess how many people have an association of people of common interest in progress, success, ideas, and philosophy? Answer, very few. But be one of the few. That's number 5. Here's number 6. The 6th fundamental for success is a plan for the development of all your personal skills. One of the great things to learn in life is that you can learn a great deal. There's hardly anything you can't learn. If you wished, you could learn several languages. There's so many skills that you can develop that you want to make sure that you've got a timetable and a plan for developing all those skills. Don't settle for less than you can be. See, at the end of your life, you don't want to wake up and discover that you've only lived 1/10 of it. And the person you could have become, you let that slide. The skill you could have developed, you just didn't take the time. There's a great deal of discipline required in developing all of your personal skills, but I can tell you that it's well worth the discipline. Make sure you go to the classes. Make sure you do all that's you possibly can to develop every skill you can, from the skill of leadership, the skill of diplomacy, the skill of language. Now here's the seventh and last fundamental for success. And this is a very important one. Mr. Shove taught me this one when I first met him at age 25. He called it lifestyle. Learning how to live. The seventh fundamental is a constant plan for figuring ways to live uniquely and to enjoy your present substance. Lifestyle is the challenge of learning how to live well. See, if you earned well and didn't live well, see, that would be pitiful. If a man made a great deal of money, but his personality didn't change and his lifestyle didn't change, his uniqueness didn't change, see, that would be pitiful. Most people say, if I had more money, I'd be happier. But happiness is something you have to work on besides money, because the money won't make you happy. Those are the seven fundamentals for success. Goals, a plan for goals, a clear picture of how to use your resources, a plan for your work time, a plan for gathering knowledge, association with the right people, a plan for developing your skills, and lifestyle.
There are three types of different goals that you must set in order to achieve personal development and balance. The first types of goals you need are business, career, and financial goals. These are the tangible, measurable things that you want to achieve as a result of your efforts at work. These are the what that you want to accomplish in life. The second types of goals you need are your personal and family and health goals. In reality, these are the most important goals of all in determining your happiness and well-being. These are called the why goals because they are the reasons why you want to achieve your business, career, and financial goals in the first place. They are your true aim and purpose in life. Many people become so involved with their work and careers and their financial goals that they lose sight of the reasons why they wanted financial success in the first place. They get their priorities mixed up. As a result, their lives get out of balance. They start to feel stressed and driven. Sometimes they become angry and frustrated. They need to get their goals back in the right order of priority and realize that achieving work and financial goals are the means to the end of enjoying family and personal goals. They are not the ends in themselves. The third types of goals you require are your professional growth and personal development goals. These are the how goals. Goal setting, learning and practicing new skills and behaviors are how you achieve the what in order to enjoy the why.
When you're satisfied with your list of long-term goals, read through the list once again. Then, beside each item, write the number of years that you believe it will take you to achieve that particular goal. It's best to round off the numbers into 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year categories. For example, you may estimate that it will take you 10 years to research and write the book on your family history. But you'll need only 5 years to get yourself into a position where you can take a trip to the pyramids. Create a time frame like this for every one of your long-term goals. Immediate goals, those that will take less than a year to achieve, are important too, of course, and we'll deal with those separately in a moment. When you're finished entering your time frames, there should be a fairly balanced distribution of all your goals. If there are many 1- and 3-year objectives, but only a few in the 10-year category, maybe you need to think more about what you really want your life to add up to. What kind of life you really want to build over the long run. But if there's a preponderance of 10-year goals and relatively few of the shorter-term variety, this may be an indication that you're putting things off, that you're focused too much on where you'll be at the end of the day and not enough on what you can accomplish right now. Keep working on your list, adding and subtracting goals with various time frames until you've created a more or less even distribution. Now comes the really challenging and interesting part. So far, you've just been adding things to the list, but now it's time to start making some selection. Now you're going to start asking yourself what's really important compared to what might just be sort of fun. Choose 4 goals from each of the 4 time frames: 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year. Now you have 16 separate goals. So far, you've only referred to them in shorthand fashion, but now you're going to start seeing them very, very clearly in your mind's eye. You're going to see each goal just as if it were being realized this very minute. And you're going to write down a detailed description of exactly what you see. Do you intend to open a handmade furniture store in 3 years? What will the store look like from the street out front? Will there be gold leaf lettering on the windows? Or will there be a sign hanging over the door instead? Think of all the questions that need to be answered in order to see your goal with absolute clarity. And then write the information down in a notebook or on a piece of paper. That will become one of your most important personal possessions. But that's not all. Any goal is a powerful motivator only if there's a powerful reason behind it. Challenge creates strong character, and goals represent challenge in its most positive form. Leaders have their personal goals clearly in focus, as well as the goals of the organization. In fact, one of the principal responsibilities of leadership is defining goals for the vast majority of people who aren't able to do it for themselves. Over the years, I've developed some ideas about effective goal setting, and I'd like to share those with you in a moment. And I also want to point out some traps of goal-directed behavior that aren't usually talked about, but that certainly ought to be. When I was a kid, I used to dream what it would be like to buy a ticket on a railroad train and just go someplace. I really didn't think about where I'd be going or how long it would take to get there. I just loved the idea of getting on the train and just letting it take me someplace. I guess there's still something appealing about that idea, but it's not really the way you want to live your life as a mature human being. When you grow up, you buy a ticket on a train or a plane because you want to go someplace, and you know exactly where you're going. You may have to change planes in a different city. Your flight may be canceled, and you may have to switch to another flight. You may not feel like talking to the person seated next to you, but you will persist. You know where you're headed, and you're quite determined to get there. That's goal-directed behavior in its simplest form. There are short-term goals and long-term goals. Sometimes you're flying across the country. Other times you're just walking down to the corner grocery store. Long-term goals are the equivalent of a major journey. When you reach the point where you've achieved your long-term goals, your life will be fundamentally changed, and the process of getting to that point will transform you into a stronger, wiser, higher-performing person than you are now. How can you identify your long-term goals? On a sheet of paper or in a notebook, write these 5 headings. Number 1, what do I want to do? Number 2, what do I want to be? Number 3, what do I want to see? Number 4, what do I want to have? And number 5, where do I want to go? Now, under each of these categories, write down several possible long-term goals. Be very relaxed about this. Just allow your mind to flow and come up with 3 to 6 ideas for each category. Don't worry about a lot of details at this point, and don't spend too much time describing a particular goal.